What a great way to say welcome again onto this presentation of the KMTV Morning Show with me, Amos Thomas Momo. Today is Thursday and it's the 8th of July 2020. I want to say good morning and welcome wherever you are. It's indeed a beautiful Thursday morning here in Liberia. And if you're out of Liberia, hoping you are having a wonderful time on the show. Yesterday we were here talking issues of concern, national concern, and this morning, as you are aware, we were to play host to Mr. Martin Kollie, an activist, on the 5th of July. That was on Monday, but it didn't work our way, and so 2021 today, July 7, we are going to be talking to Mr. Martin Kollie on wide range of national issues, void of personal attack. Will be very straight to the point to discuss those issues that matters right here on today's presentation. So I'm humbled to be here, and very shortly we're going to be having Mr. Martin Kollie joining us via Zoom here. He's in Arizona. And we're going to be discussing the issues ranging from COVID, looking at the proceeding of this government, what Liberia needs now in fighting this virus, what his take on the proceeding of the Ministry of Health, and then we'll go in depth into other governmental and national issues right here on the show. So welcome. Whatever you are, thanks for joining us. Quickly, we have Abraham Kollie of our staffs. He's the correspondent of KMTV there in Kakata, Magibi County. Henry Yango is also joining us. Hamilton Mo is joining us. He said, good morning. Thanks, brother. Thank you so much for joining. And my own mom is there again this morning. She's thank you so much, Mom, for joining us. George Vibes, he say he's following from the whole community. Representative, AVC Avenue, Abraham Vamuyan, Conan Avenue. He's joining us this morning as well on the show. So thanks so much. And we're hoping that we can have this friendly conversation, void of personal attack. Mr. Martin Kollie, an activist, is our guest this morning. Mr. Kollie, good morning from your end, and thanks for joining us. Though we are coming on late, but it's better late than never. I'm humbled to have you this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Amos. It is my pleasure to join you from SI. I appreciate the work you and your team at KMTV continue to do in the best interests of Mama Liberia.
Okay.
This generation must do all it can to fulfill its mission, either in relative opacity according to Frank Fanon. So it is good to be here. Greetings to all Liberians, and I hope everyone is observing those basic and appropriate health protocols amidst COVID-19. Thank you very much, Aaron, for the invite.
Thank you so much for accepting as well. How's life going on with you there?
Basically, I'm grateful to God for life because He is the arbiter of human existence. In as much we have life, we have hope. You know, this is a popular balance across the world. However, I am also worried about the collective future and destiny of our country. These are really sad times. These are tumultuous times for the Liberian people. Since 1847, our people are more miserable and vulnerable to social economic peril than ever before. And as an activist in exile who was chased viciously by this regime for no reason, my own was to stand in defense of the popular interest. My only crime was to nip corruption and public mismanagement in the bud. Today I'm in exile. Satisfied being in exile? The answer is no. I want to be in my country. But how can I be in my country when we have an intolerant government that does not accommodate dissenting opinions and views? So Liberia has become a hostile zone for advocates, even critical journalists like you. So I am not satisfied being out of my country. I love my country so much. I love my people. Our people are suffering. We cannot keep quiet about these issues that matter. So it is good to be here. It is good to be here, though I'm speaking to you from exile. But our people still have hope. And I want them to remain optimistic because a new Liberia is coming.
Okay, now let's begin with the rebirth of the Delta variant in our country that is taking the life of many Liberians. The government is putting its feet on the fire in making sure that it can adequately fight in saving the lives of many Liberians. Let's begin with a message from exile to Liberians as it relates to the rebirth of COVID-19 in Liberia.
Basically, my message is in twofold. It goes to our people directly. It also goes to those who are managers and stewards of the Liberian Republic. But let me begin with those who are managing the Liberian Republic, those who are leaders, quote unquote. I want to put that in quote
Okay.
because I have a different perspective relative to those who are in power right now. I would like to encourage the government of President George Weah to take this crisis very seriously. This global pandemic is not only life-threatening, but it undermines the sovereignty of our republic. So any government for that matter, that reneges or refuses to take this crisis seriously, there are greater risks ahead. It is unfortunate, Amos, that our government has mismanaged this entire health crisis. The health crisis from the very beginning was mismanaged. When the president began to appoint non-health practitioners to supervise or superintend the entire coordination exercise, I raised alarm when the president appointed Madam Fina Bono, when the president appointed Madam Mary Brown to coordinate COVID-19 response. I was the very first activist that raised alarm and called for readjustment because I knew these two appointees were never knowledgeable about public health. I was calling on President Weah to consult Dr. Dube Yan, a scientist and public health expert. I was calling on President Weah to rally public health experts in the country. Do you know how many public health experts we have in that country? They want to help, but how can they help when they are not called upon to national duty? So I was simply encouraging our government, look, This is not politics. Let's put politics aside. This has got to do with the lives and survival of our people. Let's get on board the necessary experts, give them the necessary tools to fight this virus. Because this virus is even more dangerous than the Ebola virus disease. So I made some recommendations from the very beginning of this fight. But again, they did not look at the message. They look at the messenger instead of considering the recommendations. They say, oh, that Martin Kollie again. He hates the president. He hates the government. Why are you focusing on the messenger and not the message? These are very sad times. Our people are dying from this virus. Let's put politics aside. Let's work in the interests of our people. Let's rescue our republic from this pandemic. This who require leadership, Amos. Leadership on the part of the president, leadership on the part of the minister of health, leadership on the part of the executive director of NFIL, and those who are spearheading. Go to other countries. Both opposition, critics, activists, government are concerting ideas and efforts to fight this virus. Because the virus does not see opposition, the virus does not see government, the virus does not see anyone. Therefore, we must do all we can to save our lives and protect our people from this virulent pandemic. So I just want to call on the government to readjust, to reshift, because the current pattern or framework or strategy they have in place is very poor. The number of cases are increasing right now as I speak to you. Variant is in Liberia. Nobody cares to investigate who brought the Delta variant in Liberia. People are accusing Indian businessmen jetting. But why is the government not investigating this accusation? So the government is playing politics with the lives of our people, Amos.
Okay.
And this is not fair.
Do you
So
think?
my message to our people, is observe social distancing,
Okay.
wash your hands, stay out of public gatherings, make sure to abide and obey those basic health protocols that have been laid down by the Ministry of Health and MPhil. Protect your lives, because when you protect your lives, you are protecting the lives of others. Stay at home. These are crisis times, and we will expect everyone to take precaution and prevention, because these two P's will save your lives. This is my message to our people. My message is very simple on this issue of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay. Do you think, just before we conclude on the COVID side, do you think Liberia is at a point of having the entire country hostage or lockdown? With the increase of cases, borders are still open, health workers are doing their best, but yet and still there are cases coming in. Do you think it is at a point at this time we have the country locked down, the government can do so? The government is ready to do so, if you think?
Locking down the country is not a bad idea. The number of cases are increasing, but there is a condition. There is a condition to locking down the country.
And why is that condition?
Does the government have the resources to provide relief services for or to our people? Because you can lock down the country when the people don't have food to eat. You can lock down the country when the people do not have basic social services. You can lock down the country when the people do not have access to water, safe drinking water. Workers at the Water and Sewer Corporation have not been paid for 8 months. I just got the information few minutes ago before I could appear on your show. 8 months. Workers at the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation have not been paid. You can lock down the country when our people do not have access to electricity. Just yesterday, there was protests at the Liberia Electricity Corporation. Were demanding their wages. So there are protests everywhere. Employees at LWSC paid. Employees at LEC have not been paid. In fact, they have down their wages in the midst of increased hardship, inflation, and economic paralysis. So how do we expect these people to survive? They have families. So if you cannot pay these people who should be providing basic social services amidst the quote-unquote lockdown, how can you lock down the country? Look at what promise relief materials or provide the provided relief services like rice, free water, free electricity. You are a critical investigative journalist. Let me ask you, were those promises fulfilled during the first lockdown? So they raised the expectation of our people and they could not meet those expectations. They are discussing second lockdown. How do our people trust you? Where is public confidence? So our people don't trust any process of lockdown. Because if you lock down the country, our people are going to die and starve. Die from starvation and hunger. A lot of those people are unemployed. Do you know how many Liberians are unemployed right now? Thousands of them have lost their job in a relatively short administration of President William. So how do you expect them to survive if you lock down the entire country and you cannot provide relief services for them? Look at countries that are being locked down. Just look at countries that are being locked down in a region, in a sub-region, or in sub-Saharan Africa. Look at countries that went through lockdowns. They provided services for their people free of charge because they know that these people do not have any means to survive amidst lockdown. So it should not just be about lockdown. You ask me, whether I support lockdown? Yes, but with a condition. We want to save more lives. If lockdown will be the solution for saving more lives, I do support it as an activist, but with a condition. And the condition is the government should be in the position to provide basic social services, relief materials, food, Medicare, because our people deserve better than just lockdown. Our people deserve better than starvation and hunger. So this is my position relative to lockdown. If the government can provide access to these things, yes, we can go ahead and lock down the country for a few weeks in the best interest of the country. But lockdown should be based on strategic reasoning and rationality, in my opinion. Though I'm not a public health expert.
Lockdown should be based on strategic reasoning from your own analysis, and that is it. Now, let's begin going a little bit, leaving COVID, because already here and looking at the happenings in the country. We'll begin with the opposition community. I would want you to give me your sincere analysis on the proceeding of the opposition, because, mind you, the opposition's community is tasked with the responsibility of putting the government feet to the fire to do the better thing or the right thing for its people. Now, do you think this opposition that we have in Liberia is doing the right? Do you think they are going to hold on up to 2023 with the rigmarole we are observing from Cummins to Boakai, who should spearhead the CPP ticket, and all of those other rigmaroles that is within the CPP? Do you think they are going to hold on up to 2023 and looking at their proceedings as well?
If you study internal party politics, because I'm a student of politics as well, I studied economics major and political science minor at the University of Liberia. If you study internal party politics, there is no political institution that is free of internal contradictions. I repeat, there is no political institution in the world, not even the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. No political institution is free of internal contradictions. In as much there are interests, there will always be contradictions. But my opposition relative to the opposition community, I think the opposition is weak.
Okay.
And I want to repeat this. The opposition is weak. And because of that weakness, disintegration, is setting in based on greed. I repeat, the opposition is weak. Based on such weakness, disintegration is setting in due to greed.
Okay.
Greed. Everything in capital letter. If you ask me, where do we go from here? Should the CPP go for convention in December or not? No, CPP should not go for convention. And why? CPP should not go for convention. And I'm very sure they are listening. There are two leading candidates right now in the race. Mr. Alexander Cummings of the ANC and Mr. Joseph Boakai of the Unity Party. These are the two popular candidates. And these are the two candidates preferably by acclamation. So there should be consensus instead of convention. Consensus instead of convention. Why there should be consensus? This will certainly prove how you unify and integrated the CPP is to defeat the CDC in 2023. It is not compulsory for a political party to hold convention for the purpose of electing its code of officers. Political party can elect through consensus. It is applicable in the context of democracy. In as much delegates from all the political parties come together and agree, look, there is no need for going to election. This is our candidate. We trust him. He has the integrity to lead, to make the difference. Let's make him the standard bearer. Let's make the other man the vice standard bearer. Consensus. Consensus. And even if you check the framework of the CPP, they have convention and they have consensus.
Yeah.
So which one does the CPP choose? In my mind, they should choose consensus. Since you have two candidates, let the two candidates sit on the table and discuss. Cummings and Boakai sit on the table and say, look, let's discuss where we go from here. Somebody has to compromise his or her ego or interest. Somebody has to go second. The two candidates sit and discuss. The four political parties sit around the table and discuss. Because this process is not only about removing George Weah in 2023. It is about saving the republic and protecting the ultimate interests of our people, especially the peasants and proletarians. 2023 process is about boosting George. No. It is about casting a new vision that will deliver the country from the danger of poverty. This is what the people want. This is what the people want.
And who you think can best spearhead?
Who will guide the process towards 2023? Who will guide this process? Conscientiously, should be this about the rescue, survival, and revival of our democracy.
Who you think could best spearhead the CPP ticket with the legs of Boakai and Cummings? Looking at their backgrounds and you've been following them. You know exactly what they are capable of doing. Boakai been in government for 42 years. He been doing a lot of great job. Cummings were there at Coca-Cola. You did some background investigation about Cummings and came to Liberia. You have the Cummings Foundation. He's also doing a great job here. Who you think from the two could best spearhead the CPP ticket?
The flag Liberian to understand here is, are these two candidates better off than George Weah? Yes, they are far better off than George Weah intellectually,
okay,
academically, intellectually, administratively, leadership-wise. These two candidates, Boakai and Cummings, are far better than George Weah. In my position as an activist, I'm now a member of any political party. When CDC was in the opposition, I criticized the alien-led government for 12 years. I went to prison. I was beaten inside, almost to death by state security for leading a major protest during the 159th Independence Day celebration. The records are there. And I am telling you that these two are better, far better off than George Weah. So let's bring two of them on the table. George Weah is out of the picture because he's a zero president. Let's bring Cummings and Boakai on the table. Where do we go from here? Are these two candidates good? Do they have the traits, qualities of leadership? Have they been successful in leading? Do they have vision? Are they willing to transform the lives of the people? These are critical questions we have to answer. Do they have the ability to lead? Are they in the best position to make any real difference in the lives of our people and rescue this dying republic from the hands of this kleptocratic regime under ex-circus star George Weah? If you ask me all of these questions, Amos, I will tell you yes. The two candidates are up to the task. The records of service, whether in the public sector or the private sector, they have proven records of service and they have been very successful.
Okay.
That's why I told you initially, if I was a member or an executive of the CPP, I would be pushing for consensus between these two candidates for them to come on the table and discuss and reach a common ground. One person go first, one person go second. It doesn't take anything from any one of them, in as much they are focusing on the greater interest and the greater picture, the good of the country. So if I was an executive of the CPP, I am an activist. The day I join party politics, I will tell you, Amos, you will know. Even though people have accused me of being a member of the CPP, on one occasion they say, Martin is a member of the CPP. On another occasion, I'm a member of ANC. On the other occasion, I'm a member of the Liberty Party. On one occasion, I'm aligning with Berena Yue. I'm aligning with Bwaka. You know, so the allegations are too many. It's my right to join a political party and so on to the Constitution. So if I want to join a party, it will not be a secret. I will announce it. I will make it public. And all of my followers and supporters will follow because they believe in my judgment and rationale. So I don't want to get directly involved on whether I prefer Bwaka or I prefer Kollie to spearhead the CPP as stand-up barrel. But what I can say is these two patriots must come together and agree in principle who leads and who deputizes. CPP must not disintegrate because the people now, let me tell you, you know, in the context of economic, you have something called inferior good. You know, inferior good, even when people have money, they are not willing to buy or consume more. So CDC is an inferior good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
CDC is an inferior good.
Mr.
You know?
Kollie, let's drive a little bit into happenings in this government. And I will want you to be very polite, void of personal attack, and we speak strictly to the point because you are an activist. Of late, the managing director of the Liberia Airport Authority in person of Bishop Allen Clay was dismissed early Tuesday morning at 6 o'clock by the president of Liberia. And according to the dismissal, is based on administrative reasons. As we stand, we are still investigating as to what was the root cause of the dismissal of the Bishop Clay from the airport. You care to make a voice on that?
Oh, sure. You know where I sit, what I do, I see is quite different from what ordinary Liberians do see. So it's quite frankly, I just clear on your platform that Bishop J. Allen Clay did not commit any crime. Did not commit any crime to have been dismissed. He was only doing his job according to factual, very credible information in my reach. Bishop Clay refused to bow down to the golden image on a specific concession. He refused. You know, this we-are-led government is absolutely and inherently corrupt. The bishop has his character to protect. The bishop has his image to protect. The bishop has his ministry to safeguard. He's a spiritual leader. And for me, I believe respect spiritual leaders because my father is a pastor. I'm from a religious home. I grew up in a pastoral home since I was a kid. So I respect religious leaders, whether pastors, imams, any religious leader. In as much you are in such position, you have my utmost respect. That's why all my advocacy I do is blind when it comes to targeting religious leaders. Have you seen me attacking a religious leader before? No.
No, not
You
once.
know, so it was last month. It was last month. I don't know whether you read what I wrote. I was advising the bishop about what lies ahead.
Okay.
I wrote a two-page communication to the bishop. It's still on Facebook. I was predicting this very moment. I predicted this very moment that he was going to be dismissed. The bishop had sent in his resignation before even he was dismissed. So I don't even describe this as a dismissal. No. Do your investigation. The bishop resigned, sent in his letter to the president. The president took the letter of resignation. So how can you accept somebody's letter of resignation, finish reading it, and he say he dismissed it? That's Margaret.
Okay.
It's inapplicable. It's unacceptable. And look at the reason, administrative reason. That reason is vague. It's vague. How can you say you dismiss somebody? Dismissal must have a definite reason because it is not suspension. If it was suspension, it is understandable to say for administrative reason. So President Weah does not even know administrative procedures, ethics, and etiquette. Dismissal is the final decision, meaning you have expelled the person. Suspension is not definite. It could be indefinite. I'm not a student of public administration, but those who understand public administration will agree with me on this specific issue. If you suspending the bishop for time indefinite, then you can say for administrative reason. It is applicable and understandable in the context of public administration. But you can't dismiss the man finally. You can't dismiss the bishop and you say for administrative reason. So you see, the people don't even know what they're doing. They don't even know what they are doing. You
Mr.
expel
Kollie.
somebody. That means you have exterminated them
Okay.
totally, right?
Yeah.
Then you say administrative reason. You should tell the public why the bishop was dismissed. But you know why he will not tell the public why the bishop was dismissed?
Why?
Because he wanted the bishop to sign a bogus agreement with a cargo company from Georgia.
Mr. Kollie.
And the bishop refused. The bishop refused.
Okay. So
So
now,
let the public be informed because thousands of people follow your platform. KMTV is by far the popular online platform. So thousands of people follow your platform. Let the Liberian be aware that the bishop was dismissed because he refused to get involved with their Charlie deals.
Mr.
Let that
Martin
information
K.M.
go.
Kollie is our guest this morning from Exile. We have him via Zoom, and he's an activist as our guest on the show this morning. We're having this friendly conversation. He's there providing us some of his takes on the issues happening in Liberia. And he also providing solutions, like you listen to his take on Kollie. He provided some solution on the way the government can proceed and all of those things he's saying. He actually providing solutions on some of those. So we are here this morning discussing those issues that matters. Comments keep coming in, and if you want to join us, you can call us on 0775271672, 0775271672, and plus 231-775-271672, and you will be live this morning on the show with me, Amos Thomas Momo, as your host, and Martin K.M. Kollie as your guest this morning. Mr. Kollie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Amos.
How's it going?
And I will always love to be here because our people need to be informed.
Okay.
Our people need to be sensitized, not sanitized.
I know it.
Our people need to be sensitized. What affects Liberia right now is more ideological what our people need right now is political consciousness. And you see, when I spend all my time on almost all the radio stations, all
Okay,
the
so
online platforms,
Mr. Colley,
I'm not
let
doing,
me just
I'm
hold
not
you
doing.
a little bit. Let me hold you a little bit and get
Yeah, go ahead.
our first quarter in. Good morning.
Yes,
Thanks for joining us.
yes, good morning, Amos, and let me say good morning to Jacqueline. Kollie,
Okay, he's
this
listening
is
to you
someone,
already. Go ahead.
this is someone that I'm born in a Johnny Ghana's.
Yeah, Ambassador, let's
I,
hear you.
yeah, quickly, as a student of public administration, I need to test on what he was saying about dismissal and suspension. I tell when there is something going on in the entity that you are still doing your own ground investigation to get the factual information on what happened. Then you can suspend someone for administrative reason until you get a funding. But if you are dismissing the person, which means you are investigated beyond all necessary doubt, and the person found guilty for a certain reason. So when dismissing a person, that means you specify in a letter or in a notification that the person is dismissed because of some reason, because of some reason. Simple. So thank you. That's what I want to provide.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Thomas Tamabono. Mr. Colley, of late, the president of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Weah, was there in France. And his purpose of going to France was to form part of the Generation Equality Forum there in France. I want you to give me your clear take and analysis, very patriotic and a realist, like you are, on his still there in France. What's your take? Mr. Colley, are you there?
Amos,
Yeah.
when you read what I wrote yesterday, I made it very. Yeah, are you getting me?
Go ahead, sir. You live now.
Hello. Okay, I wrote an analysis yesterday, Amos, about this entire trip. I don't know whether you read it or not, but the title of this analysis was Losses and Gains. How and why President George Weah's trip to France was a waste. The president trip was a public waste. I want to repeat. The trip of President Weah and his delegation to Paris, France, was a public waste. And I provided a number of authentic reasons why it was a public waste. And I just want to go through them. But before going through them, Amos, let me just identify a few lies. Because when I said this thing initially, seditions ran around with my name, Martin Kollie, Mr. Liar Man. They even produced a video. They even produced a video. I don't know whether you watched that video. They said I was lying. And what were the lies? Let me deal with the lies, then we'll go into the nitty-gritty of why the trip was a waste. Number one, what did I say? I said the president was never invited as a speaker. He was never going to speak at the Generation Equality Forum. That was the first thing I said. The Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs published on E-Mansion's website that the president was going to speak. You know what they said, the caption for that release on the 28th of June 2021? They said President Weah to address the Equality Forum. Can you imagine such lie? Must they lie about everything, Amos? And I refuted, disputed such, and said the president was never going to speak. Did the president speak, Amos? No, he never spoke. So I was correct and they were wrong. The second lie, let's go to the second lie. They said Emmanuel Macron gave or donated or committed or promised whatever 23 million euros. And I challenge them again. Did Emmanuel Macron promise or committed 23 million euros?
Mr. Colley, we have this person from out of Liberia, so we will hold you to have him on quickly. Thanks for joining us. What's your name and where you call from?
Hey, my name is Masaboy Hamadu. I'm calling from the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay. Thanks for joining
us.
I
was calling purposely to applaud Martin K. and Kollie for that brilliant response that he gave concerning your question when you asked him who will you prefer to head the CPP. I really appreciate his response. If all advocates could be responding to such a question, I see CPP moving greatly to redeem Liberia from this problem that we found ourselves in, because his response was very brilliant. And I see people asking him, he should be straight to answer the question. You cannot answer that question. Out here, I'm not a member of any political party. I'm from Lofa County. But there is no way I will come up boldly to support Boakai over Cummings or to support Cummings over Boakai. The two political leaders have equal qualities of leadership, and they have succeeded in so many ways. So I will also join Martin Kollie to advocate to all Liberians, more especially the advocates that on social media that people listening to. They should be very mindful how they respond to such a question, because Cummings and Boakai are the only two hopes for Liberia. I just wanted to add up to what Martin K. and Kollie stated. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very kindly. So, Mr. Kollie, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just stated the first lie. The second lie, Macron promised or committed 23 million euros. You know, are these people really compelled to lie to the Liberian people every day and every? They should be bold and honest. The integrity is about it. Always lie to your constituents or citizens in such broad manner. It's wrong. Macron did not commit any 23 million euros. That's a lie. Now, the last time I checked, Amos, this very same President Macron, Emmanuel Macron of France, promised 10 million euros. And that was in February 2018. The first visit the president ever made after inauguration was to France. When he visited France, he met Emmanuel Macron. They had a press conference. They had a bilateral agreement signed. A press release was issued. The French press or media was present, and Emmanuel Macron promised 10 million euros, February 2018. So how will you go this time? You say Emmanuel Macron promised you 23 million euros this time around, but no press conference, no French media or carry any story of such nature, no signing agreement. The man gave you 10 million euros. The man promised you 10 million euros for a big press conference. It was on the website of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of France. But this time around, there's no trace to any record or any documentation that Emmanuel Macron promised you 23 million. How is that rational or reasonable for any Liberian to stomach or consume? It doesn't make sense. So Emmanuel Macron did not promise any 23 million euros. That's a lie. The next lie I detected and exposed, the president was using his trip as a cover-up to celebrate his son's league victory. You know his son, Timothy Weah. He plays for Lille. Lille. Probably I might not be pronouncing it well. Lille, right? He plays for Lille in France. That's the first division league. It's not even the Premier League. Right. So, League championship in France. Just May. They won in May. So President Weah used this trip as a cover-up to celebrate his son's league victory and to also celebrate his wedding anniversary. That was what I said. And just what I said came to pass. You saw him taking pictures. He left the conference in Paris. He went province, other state. So, did the president really go to attend any generation conference of what? Actually get. The president said Macron also promised 40,000 kids plus 4 respirators. let's get to the nitty-gritty of this specific issue. 40,000 Abbott antigenic test kits. He did not promise 4 Osiris transport respirators, as stated by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of State for President. This particular was made far before that conference in France or that forum in France. And this pledge commitment was made by the French embassy in Liberia and not Macron. But they lie on Macron. They lie on Macron. Now, let's go to the monetary value. What did Liberia get from this particular donation from the French embassy in Liberia? Not Macron. I want to be specific on this matter. Macron did not promise anything. The photo shoot. The trip was all about a photo. Liberia did not get a dime in that forum, even though we spent thousands of United States dollars, of tax dollars. So let's go to the monetary value. What did we get from these made by the French embassy in Liberia? Let's calculate, because I like the specifics. Our people need all this information for them to rationalize and make sound decisions in 2023. The lies must stop. Lies do not last. Lies do not last. So let's do calculation. What does it cost to buy a test kit? COVID-19 test kit. What's the cost of a COVID-19 test kit? The cost of a COVID-19 test kit is between 2 and 5 United States. If you want one test kit, COVID-19 test kit, specifically the Abbott anti test kit, it costs 2.5 USD or 5 USD. Some places like the United 5 USD. You go to India, 2.5 USD. That's the cost. So they gave 40,000 test kit. So multiply for the test kit by 5 USD. Let's take the number instead of 2.5. So you will have 200,000 for the 40,000. Then let's go to the 4 respirators. What's the cost of a respirator? You see why they don't like me, Amos? Because I can export. That's the country. I can break it down to our people's level. That's why they don't like me. They chase out of the country. They almost killed me during my graduation. Because I can go beyond the information, dig out the facts, explain to our people in the simplest term. So let's go to the 4 respirators they are running. There are 4 respirators. What's the cost of a respirator? And the specific respirator is called Osiris. That's RRS. Osiris transport respirator. That's what they gave them. The French embassy donated to them. So what the cost of an Osiris respirator? The cost of an Osiris transport respirator is $4,989.45 in India. You know, for India. So India, this respirator is $4,989.45. That's the cost of an Osiris transport respirator donated to Liberia, 4 of them. So time 4 respirator are $4,989.45. You have the total of $1,957. So add 200,000 to 90,000.
We're having a little, Mr. Kollie, we are having a little, I don't know, we're having some network, glitches are coming, I don't know from where. It started very fine now. There are a little bit of hitches coming up, but we're hoping that we can continue. Are you there?
Yeah, are you getting me?
Yeah, go ahead quickly.
Yeah, where did I start? Before
you were talking about the respirator, right?
Had such interest. Yeah, so I was saying the cost of an Osiris transport respirator, because India is the supplier, even France and other countries go to India to procure, right? So the cost of an Osiris respirator, because the French embassy, 4 of them, of that respirator is $4,089 for that. So multiply 4 times $4,989 for the 5 cents will give $19,957. $100,000. And see the total amount we spend all the money for to go to France for guests, operators, and 40,000 K. So the total monetary value of what France, the French embassy in Liberia, gave us, the monetary value in terms of totality is $219,957.08. Right? So all the things they're running around with, oh, John, we are bring respirator, John, we are bring tools, kit, the value of all those things. And the links are on my page. Those of you who are monitoring, just go to my page, Martin K and Kollie. The analysis is there. All the links, the costs for are there. You can see them for yourselves. Right? So all the noise they're making about John, we are bring continuum of respirator, continuum of desk kits. The value of all those things is not even $200,957.
Okay.
So let's go to the losses. Let's go to what we spent on this. Then we compare with what we got. Like I said, we did not get these things from the trip. The French embassy in Liberia promised to provide these things far before President Weah could even travel to France with the delegation. But let's go to how much we spent for this trip. Let the Liberian people go home and pay. They are there, the facts, the empirics, the links, the references. All those information are on my page, Martin K and Kollie. Go there and see them. So let's go to the losses. What did we lose? What did we spend on President Weah and his delegation to go to Paris? Just cost of delegation. Cost of delegation, we spent $112,712.81, which is inclusive of lodging, and or allowances, fee, because they have to buy short stay visa. There are various categories of visa. I don't want to get into that because of time.
Yeah.
So the total is delegation. Are you aware that we're giving Mr. Weah $2,000 per day just as down? So it's all about the DSA. That's why he put all those people behind to go to France just for DSA, daily subsistence allowance. Oh yeah, go and read the law on foreign travel per day. Every president travels out of the country. About $2,000 as pocket change. That's what we call padam. So that our people pocket change. Besides his ticket, besides his lodging, the food you'll be eating, we get him $2,000 per day for his pocket change. So we spent $112,712 in the cost of keeping Mr. Weah and his delegation in France for 3 days. They will charter a flight. Are you aware that they use charter flight? To charter a flight, or can cost $2,000. The least money you can do your own research. 2 hours. Some aircraft charge $2,000, some will charge you $5,000. The least to charter a private jet or a private aircraft or an aircraft, whether commercial or private, $2,000. So let's take it at $2,000. I don't want us to go to the city. Let's come to the list. 2,000. So multiply 2,000 by 72 hours. Because the number of days you spend there, you're talking about 7. So you multiply 3 by 24, you get 72. 72 hours times 2,000. You have 144,000. So do your simple addition. Let's get the sum of $112,712, $112,712.81 plus 144,000. You will have $256,712.81. So the money we spent on this trip is far more than the monetary value of what we receive in kind of the 4 series respirators and the 40,000 testing kits. Those materials cost $219,957. Then the money we spent $256,712.81. So the difference, we incur a loss. We incurred a loss, LOSS. We incurred a loss of $36,755. So you see, we are the losing end. So what did we really get from that trip? The trip was a public waste. Why the president we have to waste our taxes in such manner? It's unfortunate, Amos. And this is the tragedy confronting the republic.
That okay.
That's why the Martin Kollie to speak on these issues. When I was in Liberia, I was moving from intellectual center to intellectual center, educating our people about some of these contradictions, some of these major and minor contradictions in the state. They saw that as a threat. When I led the 16 days, they saw that as a threat. When I led the Independence Day protest, compelling the president to declare his assets, they said Martin Kollie was a threat or is a threat to our government. So they chased me out of the country. They almost killed me on the very day of my graduation. This is how dictatorial, intransigent the we are government is. They don't believe in the tenets and principles of democracy.
Mr. Kollie, because of time, we will find another time that we can expound on national issues like we are doing right now. But just because of time, I will want you to give your conclusion as you conclusively conclude, like you people can say, on the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court, and that will do it for today.
I think, Amos, I need more time. Probably not now.
Yeah.
In the future, you could give me more time because I have a lot to say. I have really a lot to say, and our people need to get this information. Education is very key as we move up to 2023. We need to educate our people. That's what they need. When our people are conscious, when our people become more intellectual and cognizant about these issues that affect their lives on a daily basis, they will be in a position to make sound, rational, wise decisions. They will choose wisely. They will decide their political fate in the most judicious manner. And the work we do is advocacy. And I have been doing this work for 14 years without compromising my principles and values. I challenge anybody, whether in the early-led government or the we-are-led government, to even say on public radio that we have given Martin Kollie 1 cent. I challenge anybody for that matter, to say, oh, we gave Martin Kollie 1,000 US or 2,000 US to lead the other case, to not talk about the other thing, to compromise this protest. I challenge any official of government, anybody in the early government, in the we-are-led government, any official to say we gave Martin Kollie a cent to compromise a specific issue or to not speak about a specific issue. You know, the way I was brought up, I'm very satisfied with what I have, with what I wear, with where I sleep. I don't need more than that. What matters to me is how we can get our people out of poverty, how we can rescue Liberia, how we can save our country, how we can change things around, how we can make the difference, how we can transform West Point into Mama Point, people out of the slums and give them better livelihood, how we can provide quality education, quality health care, how we can reduce infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, how we can reduce the incidences of rape, sexual and gender-based violence. Those are my concerns. That's what I'm fighting every day. That's why I'm engaging policy makers, stakeholders, and managers of the resources of our state to do what is right, appropriate, rational, wise, judicious, and righteous. When they backpedaled on those promises, then it is the right and duty of Martin Kollie to step in and defend the rights, interests, and welfare of the people. And this is what I have been doing. I do not hate President Weah as his supporters who usually say Martin Kollie hates the president. The president himself thinks that Martin Kollie hates. I do not hate you, Mr. President. But you came on the platform of transforming the lives of our people. You came on the platform of accountability and transparency. But in less than 8 months, you built mansions and estates for yourself. Your followers, your deputies, your confidants also did the same because they saw you doing they saw you doing what you were doing. Breaking down your properties and building new ones, building skyscrapers, mansions. Jamaica Lodge, your wealth now has more than 15 acres of land in Bernstown, Nagibi County. Huge estate. Where did she get the money from? Where did she get the money from? When you and your wife had a combined account with only 18,000 in it before you came to power. The other day I published the document on Facebook. So
Mr.
let's be
Kollie.
honest here. Let's be honest here. Amos, I hope you will give me 5 more minutes.
Yeah, I wonder you. I will give you
That's
that, but
why
I
they don't
will
like me to talk.
want you.
That's why they don't want me to talk.
I will want you follow the trend, right? I asked as to you giving us your clear analysis on the establishment of the War and Economic Crime Court. So we
Okay,
conclude.
let me zero in on the World Economic Crimes Code. You know, Amos, our solution, our solution right now, our solution right now in Liberia is in 3 codes. We can get solution if we establish 3 major codes. Not only War Crimes Code. We need War Crimes Code in that country. We need Economic Crimes Code. And you know the last code we need?
No.
We need Academic Crimes Code. Academic Crimes Code. So War Crimes Code, Academic Crimes Code, and Economic Crimes Code. The other day I was telling you, after this COVID-19 fight, right? After we, the Liberian people, should have defeated COVID-19, we have 2 other viruses to confront or defeat. We have a virus called ECOVID, ECOVID. It means economic virus disease. When we defeat COVID, we have to defeat the other one too. And the other virus we have is called ACAVID, ACAVID, academic virus disease.
You're joking.
So when we defeat COVID, I'm very optimistic that we are going to defeat. Then we come to deal with ECOVID and ACAVID. So if we defeat those other 2 viruses besides COVID, if we defeat ACAVID and ECOVID plus COVID, then Liberia will be rescued. And the Liberian people will have a better day. So let's go to War Crimes Code. There's my opinion on the issue. You know, that was the decision. They ain't let my baby again. If you watch Facebook 2 weeks ago, you know they were insulting my parents, including my siblings. They put their photos up and insulted them, you know. You know, we can't continue like this. We can't debate like this. Let's debate. Let Amos invite a seditious, an executive member or an assistant minister or deputy minister, and we debate. You got to put the sister on Facebook and abuse her, insult her, my mother, my father. For almost 3 days, they did because Minister Twe sent them. Why I had to ask Minister Twe to account for the money? Why I had to share his number of the public account for the 25 million? That was my crime. And they put the photo of my mother, my father, my sister on Facebook and started insulting them. But this is what we go through as activists and advocates, especially when you are hitting them high. Then they become intransigent and recalcitrant towards the very basis of democracy. But here's my opinion on the World Economic Crimes Code. Do I want this code established in Liberia? Yes, I do. 100% do. If there is anything more than 100%, because percent means 100. But if there is anything more than 100%, I want the code to be established. And here's why. And here's why. Liberia has been a victim of impunity. Liberia, and I hope you will carry this on your news. Liberia has been a victim of impunity. This is the time for us, the Liberian people, to end impunity once and for all. The reason why Liberia continues to make mistakes of the past is because we have accommodated impunity so long. And let me say this, any country that accommodates impunity stands the risks of failure. What we need in our country is justice, Amos. justice. Why would Chatela be in jail and Prince Johnson is not in jail? Why would Chatela be in jail and Alhaji Kromah is not in jail? And all those warlords, including how they call the other one from Model, Tomo Yaya Nimle, all those people who led warring factions. While Taylor is in jail, they are not in jail. That's injustice. They should be in jail. Taylor led MPFL, Prince Johnson led IMPFL. Sekou Damate Kone led LOR. Why are they passing around after killing our people? Job Bole led LPC. Why is he in the House? Why is he in the House of Representatives? So we have reached to a point where impunity is being nourished. Somebody who killed your parents, somebody who killed your relatives, you reward that person with power, send them to the legislature to represent your interests after killing your people. That's impunity, that's injustice. And I'm calling for the establishment of a War and Economic Crimes Court. It should even be established now. The international community, especially our longest serving bilateral partner, the United States of America, must bring pressure to bear on the Weah-led government. Mr. Weah has no choice. This court must be established. It is in the best interest of the country to establish this court. There are not only political, diplomatic, but they are establishing this court. The other day I spoke to Frontier Africa about the economic benefits of establishing this court. There are political benefits for establishing this court, economic benefits, there are social benefits, there are psychological benefits because victims of the war will be de-traumatized and they will have access to reparation. So there are a lot of benefits if we establish this court. And I hope you invite me the next time for us to talk about the benefits. I'm not getting you. The next time for us to talk about the benefits. Hello? I'm not getting you.
Hi, Mr. Kollie.
Hello?
Mr. Kollie, are you there?
Yeah. I was not getting you.
Okay,
I was saying probably it was due to some interruption.
Yes, I was saying that we'll always invite you to discuss those issues that matters. Thanks so much for waking you up early this morning. You was in time, though we had a little network glitches, but it was actually a friendly conversation, and we'll always.
I was sleeping, you woke me up, or I woke up for the right reason. When it comes to Liberia, I can sacrifice anything, everything.
Sure.
It's about
Thank you so much.
We have to do. I was really in deep sleep.
I know.
My phone rang. I saw your number. I said, "Hey, Amos, give me all the can talk again." The people not let for me to talk. Like, "Wait, give me all the can talk."
Okay, Mr. Kollie. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day. God bless you.
All right. Mr. Martin K. and Kollie, an activist, have been our guest this morning. He's there in exile, and he's been providing lots of information. And we discussed, it was very friendly, word of personal attack. And I think this is why intellectual needs, this is the trend journalists should follow in Liberia. We should discuss the issue and forget about individual. I am humble to have all of you sending in your comments, though we can't read them because of time. But on tomorrow, we'll be here with another presentation of the KMTV Morning Show. Thanks to all of you for viewing us. And tomorrow, I catch you. My name is Amos Thomas Momo. Thanks to my man Ransford. He always here in the morning, making sure that we can come on and bring you those necessary information that you need on a daily basis. Mondays to Friday, the KMTV Morning Show is always here. And I want to say thanks to all of you for following us always. Amos Thomas Momo is my name, and I'm bidding you a pleasant rest of the Thursday from Liberia. Bye-bye.